I'm just gonna make up the bed so that it's ready. That way if we get to like the Portland area kind of late, we don't have to do it then. And we can just get right in bed. I will say, living in a van is a lot more difficult than people think it is. For all the amazing, beautiful, wonderful things that come from it, it's hard. It's really, really hard. And honestly, it's not for everyone. But living in a regular house is awesome as well. When I'm in the van, sometimes I just really miss it. If there's anything in a van that is less than fortunate, is cleaning out the toilet after a trip, especially when you don't do it right away. It's never fun. To be completely honest, I have such a connection to this van because the time that I spent in this van was not only some of the hardest times of my life, but the best times of my life. And I got to just be so unapologetically myself, and I loved it. So I have such a soft spot for van life and this van in particular because it was just my dad and I built this van together, and I lived in the van, and I got to be in San Diego and have my two dogs with me and get to just enjoy life. When I met my boyfriend, I was living in the van at the time, and we really had no intention of living in the van, but we did end up living in the van for a few months. But the thing about this van is that I built this van for me. Everything about this van was my design, was my decision. The finishes, the color, the location of everything. I drew the layout that I wanted. I picked and purchased all of the appliances that I wanted, and I designed this around myself. So when my boyfriend started living with me in the van, it was a little hard for him because he was coming into such a small space to begin with, which is hard enough. But I am currently parked in the garage inside the van with the doors open, and it is storming like crazy outside. This is the craziest spring storm. It's it almost feels tropical. It's been really warm all day, but it's been crazy clouds. Oh my gosh. And now it's just thunder and lightning. The lights flickered just a second ago, so we might lose power. Maybe I should do this later. Basically, what I was saying last night was I built the van for me, by me, to my spec. And when my boyfriend moved into the van, it was probably pretty obvious to him that it was very much my space. Moving forward, there's a few things that I want to do to the van to like finish it out. And I would love to have his input on and his opinion, because we are contemplating maybe moving back into the van for a period of time to save some money. Realistically, when I lived in the van, I was still building it. And I also was, I was working for myself, but I wasn't really making any money. I was paying my bills and that was about it. So I never got the benefit of live in a van, not have to pay rent, be able to save money, because I just wasn't smart about it. I wasn't making enough money at the time, and I was still putting money towards building the van. So it wasn't beneficial to me in that way. But now the van is essentially built. I mean, it is currently livable the way that it is. I'd like to make some minor changes to it and finish out a few aesthetic things just to make it feel officially done. But it could be lived in tomorrow if it needed to be. I love to talk about the van and I love to share anything design related, and I love to build shit. And I honestly had every intention of filming the build process of the van. And about 2 or 3 months into it, I actually lost a hard drive that had like a year's worth of client work on it and a bunch of personal stuff on it. And it was devastating, to say the least. But losing the footage that I had already gotten from the build process, and then also trying to live in the van while building it, it would just prove to be way too much for me. Like, I just couldn't sustain documenting it and then traveling to San Diego and staying in it in whatever form it was in at the time, and then working and then driving back up to my parents' house and then having to unpack the whole thing and then work on it some more and build some more and then repack everything and then drive back down to San Diego. It was a lot. And living in a regular house during a renovation is hard enough as it is. When you do it in a van, highly not recommended if you can avoid it. If you're thinking of building a van, I would say try to live in like an apartment or live somewhere and build it in like Home Depot parking lots if you have to, but try not to live in it while you're building it, because it is a challenge, to say the least. So the plan is to document the finishing process. I'd like to add a water heater, insulate a bit better. The van was built for Southern California weather, and it is insulated, don't get me wrong, but it is not insulated for cold weather at all. So it needs some additional insulation. It needs some work for the seals of the back door. Also, I'd like to finish framing out the back window. The frame that's on there right now was just like a really quick temporary fix, and that needs attention. So many things. I am shocked that my boyfriend even suggested moving back into the van. So I'm taking this as a win, because I miss the van. Not always, but I definitely do. More to come.